Hi guys, old man Chris again. Welcome back to the shop. The tip. It still isn't tidy, never will be. Bits and pieces initially. Had a few things come through during the week. Goodies, I suppose you could say. So I ran through those, and the prime objective actually was to make a base for the portable bandsaw so it can slot in and be used sitting upright as against handheld. Bit of a fiddle, hadn't got really what material I wanted. I put it on a 3/8 plate base primarily for weight and stability. The welding on it is diabolical. It really is. I used what I call the Pissent Harbour Freight wire MIG just to get one or two tacks, and I've used inch-8 angle basically. Then I moved to some stick, fired up the old Lincoln Buzz box, and hadn't used it for quite a while, so I must admit I'd forgotten some of my ideal current settings because I used to do quite a bit of stick. But I was running low on some electrode sizes, and yesterday I picked up a couple of boxes of 6011 from, guess where, Harbour Freight. Not a bad price, I suppose. I haven't compared with elsewhere. Just over £8 for 2 pounds of rods. However, these rods just about produce a smoke screen, and they stink. I don't suppose any welding fumes are pleasant necessarily, but boy do these things make smoke. So that, combined with my usual far less than steady hands, and sometimes not quite seeing where the hell I'm going once I've got the helmet on. Although it's auto darkening, I mean I can see a certain amount, but sometimes I miss the target altogether. It's a far cry from what, 25-30 years ago, and I've mentioned before I think I did some half decent welding, particularly stick. Anyway, I've got the thing together. Basically it works. One or two tweaks to make yet, but I'll show you the end result. I didn't video most of the fabrication and welding. I was trying to concentrate on the welding, and I don't think the language would have been very good either as I tried to get my joints. I'd have to have bleeped it all out. So anyway, there you are. This is the video for the week, and when I've finished the tweaks on it, I might show it again. And I want to make a platform for the workpiece, something bigger than is on it. I'll probably do that at some point. So let's get on with it. I envy you guys with a really large shop. Mind you, I've got quite a bit of space in here, but look at the problem now. I got two bikes instead of one. On the left's my old Honda, which I'm trying to sell, unsuccessfully so far. On the right, recent acquisition, came all the way from Arizona. I'm not wanting to get rid of the Honda on the left, but my right hip gets so bad that I can't straddle a fat tank, so I got this sort of motorbike slash scooter. Actually it runs very well. It's a sort of step through, but look at what it does to my floor space. It's chronic. I can't get at a damn thing on some places. I can just about walk through between them to get down to the business end. Oh well. I meant to add, I'm getting no closer to getting sorted out. Everything's on the back burner, and this doesn't help. Guess one of these days, get a bit cleared out. Gets frustrating, but it's all my own fault really. I can't blame anybody else. Well, I had another nice package the other day, extraordinarily heavy, mainly because it's got this big chunk of 2.5 inch 12L14 plus 2 chunks of the same diameter. No, wait a minute, it's not, that's 2.25 chunks of aluminum from Bill Lewis, one of my viewers. Very kindly sent me this, and it also included, I don't suppose these are terribly visible, he likes and uses quite a lot of quarter 28, and I don't use it much, partly because I hadn't got any taps and never got round to getting any. So he's put me in a spiral flute and a spiral point. Very nice, thank you, Bill. Oh, and 3 drills to go with it, them. I thought that was very nice. As I say, it was an extremely heavy box. Very pleased with that. The thing is, I find, because I'm always short of larger diameter, very often you want to, well, with either, but say with aluminum, you want to maybe take off an inch, inch and a half for a particular purpose. Absolutely brilliant, ideal. One thing I meant to add in my last video, some may remember when I was looking for a large nut to cut a decent thread, that's when I was making my lathe rear spindle spider, and I sort of inadvertently said I've got to find some large nuts, and my friend Terry, who you well know about because he makes things for me, he sent me these two 1 inch by 8 nuts. He said, there you are, now you've got some really big nuts. So thank you, Terry, I'm very proud of my big nuts. Really good. Well, here's something else actually just arrived today. Maybe an hour ago, FedEx dropped something off. This is from a friend of mine in Arizona, actually Arthur, the guy who I got my sort of motorcycle scooter from. So it came a long way. Anyway, he sent me a picture a little while ago. That's in his shop with his helping hands set up. And what arrived but a whole set of parts to make something up. Absolutely brilliant. It's potentially very versatile. If I set up, let me see. You see, I'm doing this fairly quick. In fact, I'll come back to it just a sec. Well, I'll just thrown that together real quick. I'm not sure what his work was on the photograph. He'd got a piece of bar on the outside there, but there's a lot of potential. You go almost any direction, and this end down here, I would say I'd normally clamp that, and then I haven't done this up super tight yet, but you can pretty much find any position you want. It's probably more versatile than the steel one I made, and loads of spare lengths of stainless tube. The blocks are aluminum. Very nice. I don't know whether he sent me his set or whether he's made another. I've no idea till he tells me. Anyway, a very nice gift. I'm doing well for gifts. Now this is the most recent acquisition. I got it on spur of the moment actually. eBay, of course. And see what's written on here. Under the label it doesn't say much. 3rd horsepower, 110 volt, 515,000 RPM, flexible shaft, 3.5 foot, with a small chuck on it, which is 532. So that means it'll take quarter happily. That's better. Yeah, quite nice to use. It has a foot pedal which gives you the whole speed range. This, in fact, the way I've had it set, there's a bit of a lash up. This is meant to hang. But what I did earlier, just a minute. What I've done here is just clamp the motor. Can you see it just in the corner of the picture? It's just hanging from a clamp. And with the foot pedal down on the floor, it hasn't quite got the RPMs of some of the handheld ones, which I think some of those can go up to 30 thou or so, which is nice because an air die grinder goes up pretty high. But this is quite nice to control. I've already used it with this small stone for a bit of tidying up, and works pretty well. So I'm thinking now, as another option in the lathe, is make something to hold this and put it in a tool holder and see how that works for lathe grinding. I think probably it might be better than the Dremel because this has got a very nice solid bearing, and that might be worth experimenting with sometime. Excuse the handheld. There's my usual little 3-inch vise, which actually is almost ideal, except I wish it was a bit wider. Anyway, I did some hunting around and I found this 4-inch, I think extremely good value. I looked at dozens of vices and I'd love to have $300 or whatever to get a Kurt. Anyway, this one, a swivel base, which loses me a bit of height on the available column rise, but it's an Acculock, and I think the full opening is, I can't remember now, I think it goes up to about 4-inch or 4 1/8. Anyway, it's a fairly good opening, and what I'm going to do is put the swivel there onto the center T-slot, and then this side onto the front. That brings my jaws similar in line to the little one, so I should have adequate travel on the Y, both directions. How much was it, you might be thinking? Well, as vices go, it was cheap. By the time the shipping was added, because it's pretty heavy, it's about $100, give or take a little bit of change. It's an import, obviously. I've no idea how good it's going to be. I haven't set it up yet. I think I'll put the 3-inch down the end of the table so it's available if needed, and then set this up slightly left of center. Whether it was a waste of money remains to be seen. The jaws, I'm turning this by hand, a bit slow. The jaws appear to be ground as a fairly good pair. That doesn't look bad. And that's very uniform. So I'll set it up with indicator and give it a try before too long. Another thing that's been on the back burner for a while And here we are on my cluttered mini weld table. Portable bandsaw. I must set it up so I can use it for small jobs, vertical. I was looking at yet another YouTube video, forget who it was, somebody making a holder. I'm a bit limited for material choice, but I'm hoping to lash something up just that's functional, so I thought I'd show it. At the moment, incidentally, a lot of people seem to take the back cover off for convenience, and I'm not really too worried about exposed wheels. Anyway, the plan, you may see on this piece there's an arc drawn. That's to clear the top of this wheel. So that's got to be cut. If I can manoeuvre the plasma torch out through between my bikes, I'll try and cut that. And then this side, which has a bevel, I've got no channel, so I'm using some 1/8" angle. So with that piece on that side and this piece on top, which is a bit basic, but I think that should work once I get them marked up, and we'll weld them together. And then this end, which you can't really see, this end will go onto a base. So it will be something like that, onto a base, and then the other side is a bit more awkward. There's only really this rather small amount here to use for holding, so I'll have to use the same principle probably, but short pieces and probably a stiffener coming up the side. So that's what I'm going to fiddle with. I'll come back to you when I'm getting some progress, if any. Let's see if I can be steady enough to cut this material. Oh, I better switch on, hadn't I? Quite likely the compressor will fire up. Sorry if it does that. Not a terribly brilliant cut, but so I'm not steady enough for this game. How's that for unsteady? Oh God, ridiculous. Oh, now I'm catching on some blobs. Can't win. Let's try this way. Not pretty. I've got a fireproof pad on the floor, by the way. So get the grinder out and clean those up. At the moment I'm just trying to get 1 or 2 tacks, and I'm using my somewhat underpowered MIG. Try and just get this held. I'll explain more about the arrangement later. Turn this round a bit. Rather a lengthy tack because I'm welding onto this 3/8 plate, and I haven't really got enough current for that, but if I can get my tacks, then I think I can probably use the teak, or maybe even get the stick out. Well, that's holding. We'll see where we go from there. Right, the light's not very good. We're sitting in this end, and there's a little bit of a gap, not much. Hopefully that will be alright. I was reckoning to leave a little bit of space and possibly lining it with some very thin cork. But anyway, this end, apart from the pain in the butt with the power cable, I'm having to overlap again so that I can get onto this beveled piece and get back to get some support. So we've got to have a piece there, and then this piece with the relief, that's going to have to go here, which I've got to mark up again. So I've got to grind the base plate and clean things up so I can get some tacks, hopefully. So I'll come back to you on that. Well, I pressed on and the welds are terrible. So we've got two uprights there and a cross strap. There's a little bit of free play in it at the moment, and I'm going to line this side internally with a piece of cork, and this side I think is alright, and I used a 3/8 base just to get the weight. So thus far alright, so it goes in, a little bit of movement, and this side at the top will take a piece of cork. This side that's a pretty good fit, so this is the adjustment side, I think, and at some point, probably not in this video, I'll make another piece here to give a larger cutting platform. This one's a bit small, so I'll do that when I get round to it. Anyway, I'm going to give it a lick of paint and cover up all my sins. Well, the paint's probably not quite dry. I've already scratched a bit. As I said before, the welds do not bear inspection. It's functional. That cross strap is just to stabilise, And also the reason, if I didn't mention it, for a start I didn't have any channel, and the reason I've got this angle inside this one is to cope with the is to cope with that bevel, so we get round and pick up part of that. But I've got a little bit more slop than I want. It's got to get that power cable out of the way. And there's actually space, I think, when welding, that pulled out a little bit, but I didn't want it to be too tight. So one option I got is to glue some cork in here, which gets rid of most of the movement. But I think an easier solution, instead of using the cork, is I'll drill this and thread it. Just have a little hand wheel which will lock this up. I mean, the movement on it is pretty negligible, apart from my welding table wobbling. And as I said, I've got to make a new cutting platform, find something to make that out of. So at some point in a future video I might just show the changes I've made and give it a test. So anyway, I'm going to make that a wrap for this video, which is a bit late. Had a rather fragmented week. There you go, bit of a mixed bag. Had a job getting out in the shop this week. I don't know, various things got in the way. I can't complain about it being too cold or hot. Mind you, the weather's been crap. But I think by late this coming week I should probably be sweating. It looks pretty warm. So there we go. Not quite a bits, because I had one prime project, although as I said earlier I didn't actually show quite a lot of what I was doing, mainly through potential embarrassment. Anyway, hope to see you next week, and keep trucking. Thanks for watching.